Hey, welcome back. This is Eric Arnold here in the Politics Barn, and we've got an episode about the war on this 21st of March, Monday, around 8:30 in the evening. Sports Barn, that'll be another episode, maybe in another day or two, but this episode's just about the war, so not down with that. Hey, well, what can I tell you? But what's going on? My position on this, as I've detailed numerous times, is I don't think we should be involved in this. We're making a big mistake by backing the Ukraine the way we're doing. Every day that seems to go by here, to me, I see escalations. Little escalations, sometimes not so little escalations. And if the war keeps escalating, well, that's bad because eventually it turns into a real ugly fight where damage is everywhere. And you don't have to be a history major to go back through the history of wars to see ones that, well, I thought that would be just a minor conflict, and it blew up into, World War I. That would be an example. The United States Civil War, that was basically a fight to the death that initially people thought would be over in a couple months. So this one, this has potential to be a real disaster for everybody, not just the Russians, not just the Ukrainians, for everybody. And I don't see the reason for it. I really don't. Some examples of these escalations. The Russians went in there. They thought it'd be an easy cakewalk. I guess now, not as easy as they thought. Initially, this is just my observation, it seemed like they were, for the most part, just taking out military targets. Well, now I think they're pretty much laying wholesale siege to some of these cities and just bombing the shit out of them. So that's an escalation. Apparently over the weekend, they used hypersonic missiles. This is, I think, a new weapon. I'm not even sure the United States has these things. I guess they're just basically a cruise missile that goes really fast. I guess the advantage to that type of weapon is you can't shoot it down because it's moving 4 or 5 times the speed of sound. If I was going to shoot a cruise missile at an aircraft carrier, I think the aircraft carrier would have a half a decent chance of shooting the thing down. It's moving at 500-600 miles an hour, but we've got missiles too that move at relatively similar speeds, so maybe we could hit the thing before it sinks the carrier. Well, I guess something that's moving at 4 or 5 times the speed of sound, you're just not going to hit it, and there's not a lot of defense against these things. So they've used these things now. To me, that's a major escalation. The United States is warning of all sorts of other things that the Russians may do. We're warning that they may use chemical weapons. Just now, Biden has warned, I think this happened today, that he said, well, look out now. The Russians are talking about major cyber attacks against the United States. It's like, shh, that's a major escalation. Let's just leave that aside for now. So to me, the Russians are escalating. The United States, I believe, is escalating in that first we started out with some sanctions and everybody screamed crazy, a bloody murder that it wasn't enough. People are still screaming bloody murder, it's not enough. I don't know. I almost think we've emptied the bag now on economic sanctions on the Russians. We're funneling aid into the Ukraine, billions of dollars. We're sending military equipment in there. And when I say we, I know the United States is. I'm not sure about the Europeans. I guess they are too. They're basically taking their cues from us. At some point, where does this end? That's where I keep saying, when does this end? This is the way this is going, it's going to get out of control. Now, I had a long conversation with my brother. He probably holds, I would say, the conventional wisdom or viewpoint, if you will, about this situation. He's basically, screw Putin. We need to do everything we can to support Zelensky, send in every last thing we can over there, but he stops short of actual armed conflict. That he acknowledges that that's bad. That if we have United States jets trying to shoot down Russian jets or helicopters, that would be bad. That would be at a level that is unacceptable. And I said, well, why? Why is that unacceptable? Well, you don't know where that goes. Well, yeah, exactly. You don't know how that ends. So he is against the no-fly zone. He is against NATO boots on the ground in the Ukraine to defend them against Russian tanks and troops. My point is, I think that is the logical end to his position. I just think if we keep shoveling all this stuff in over there, that's what's going to end up happening. It just is. That will be the extension then of that thinking. That at some point Putin will force that to happen unless he can take the Ukraine, or as much of it as he wants, without the NATO forces getting involved. But right now he seems to be stuck. Where I'm thinking is, I think that Putin, I've heard this, and I kind of agree, that the Russian way of thinking is they escalate to de-escalate. I heard the United States general use that phrase, and I liked it, so I'm going to use it. And they've already done this. In other words, these guys tried for years to get the Ukraine, which is comprised presently a Western-friendly government. They tried to get these guys to basically say, hey, we're neutral, or we're friends with you, Russia. Well, they wouldn't do it. And the Russians couldn't convince them to do it. So the way in the Russian way of thinking, it's like, well, screw it. We're going to escalate then. We're going to escalate to see if we can get what we want. So they invaded. Now they're stuck. And they can't get what they want. So if by that way of thinking, they'll escalate some more and try to force the Ukraine, or, as my brother said, this is a proxy war. That means you're not really dealing with Zelensky, you're dealing with the United States. And I kind of agree that Zelensky will do whatever the United States tells him to do. So you're trying to get the United States to say, all right, well, we'll let you have the Ukraine in some capacity and let's shut this thing off. I think within 2 weeks, you're going to see something happen. I don't think that Putin can keep this up forever. I don't think he wants to. I don't think he could survive a stalemate. So either he's able to militarily win on the ground in the next week or two, forcing Zelensky and the United States to go, all right, that's enough. You can have what you took, and the Ukraine is neutral, and all right, good. Or if he gets stuck, then look out. He's not going to, my brother and I agree on this, Putin cannot lose. He can't go back to Moscow with his tail between his legs. If he does that, he'll probably be thrown out of power and killed. That whoever else shares power in that country, which apparently is these billionaire oligarchs, well, they're going to get together and say, what was that all about? You said that we were going to get some breathing room here and get these Western imperialist dogs off our doorstep. And not only did that not happen, we look like fools now, and the whole world hates us, and we can't do business. And, well, you got to go, Vladimir Putin, bang. So he can't do that. So if you're stuck and you can't retreat, there's only one way to go. There's only one way to go. So that's where I think if he doesn't win in the next week or two, you're looking at an escalation on the Russian side. And that is bad. And what frustrates me is I just don't see the need for it. If and when that happens, everybody right now that's pushing for, hey, war, no fly zones, let's just get involved. Why are we pussyfooting around here? Let's just send in the 82nd Airborne. What are we doing? All you people are then going to go, well, that was inevitable. I mean, freedom and free, freedom and free. Boy, nothing pisses me off more than that, because we said that during the pandemic and we're ridiculed. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to a country 10,000 miles away, freedom and free. Ugh. When that happens, all those people are going to go, well, it was inevitable. That was just inevitable. No, it isn't. It's not inevitable. Damn it. We can still turn this damn thing off. Zelensky, it will do whatever we tell him to do, basically. And that's where I'm wondering, it's like, where is Joe Biden on this one? I mean, I think he should be trying to turn this thing off. Now, he's going over there later this week. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, in other words, is he over there trying to negotiate peace? Is he going to be over there secretly meeting with Zelensky? In other words, Zelensky, but Biden's going to Warsaw, Poland. Will Zelensky be there? Or will this be on a Zoom call or what? But where he's kind of saying, hey, you know, we're going to get dragged into this. We, the United States, we do not want to be dragged into this. You need to shut this off. The deal on the table right now, from what I've seen in multiple places, is that the Russians would be satisfied with the Ukraine being neutral, I guess written into their constitution, whatever that's worth. They give up those separatist states on the far eastern edge of the Ukraine. They agree that the Crimea is Russian territory, which I think the Russians were already in there from a previous invasion. And Putin goes home. He's already given up some of the things he wanted to do. He wanted to denazify the Ukraine, which I don't know what that means. Probably just means he gets to go around the whole country and shoot people he doesn't like. I think he's given up on that. He wanted to demilitarize the Ukraine. I think he's given up on that. I think he's even given up on getting rid of Zelensky. I mean, I think Zelensky would be allowed to stay as the president. To me, this sounds like pretty much of a win for Zelensky. And maybe it's enough of a win for Putin that he would agree to it. But that deal just does not seem to be, it doesn't meet somebody's approval, because this keeps going. This keeps going. So let's talk about that cyber attack thing here. You know, for all you people that are, hey, let's just keep pushing this. Let's just keep throwing them aid. Just keep throwing the Ukrainians aid. They're the good guys. The Russians are the bad guys. Screw the bad guys. Let's keep throwing him aid. And hey, no fly zone. Let's not take that off the table. I mean, there's no telling what we might do here. So we need to make sure nothing's off the table. A cyber attack on this country would be awful. It would be a disaster for us, people that have no dog in this fight. A cyber attack, what type of consequences would you be talking about there? Well, let's see. Potentially, you go to the bank and you can't get your money out of the bank because their computers are down. You can go in there with your little piece of paper saying, look, this is my bank statement, and it says I have this much money in the bank. You need to give me some money. I know you have some money in those vaults over there. You need to give me some. The bank isn't going to give you anything because they have no way to know if your little piece of paper is accurate or not, and they have no way to keep track of how much money they've given out. They're just not going to do it because their computers don't work. Let's say they decide to turn off the power here or there. They don't have to turn off whole grids or whole sections of the country. They just have to make a point. And when the power's out, everything grinds to a halt. everything. They would only have to do it for 24 hours to cause total chaos in this country. And they could do it. That's the hell of it. These guys can do this sort of thing. They're choosing not to. We could do it to them if we wanted to. We choose not to. It's an act of war, is what it is. But then some people would argue, we're already at war. I would say we're not already at war. But, this is something Russia could do if they feel they're backed into a corner. If that sort of thing happens, you're talking about skyrocketing prices, gas, $4 a gallon, try $8, $9, $10 a gallon. Food, gas, shortages, $10 a gallon, if you can even get it. If you can even get it. Sporadic or widespread power outages will lead to giant supply chain disruptions. We kept the electricity on during the pandemic and we're still experiencing supply chain issues. What if you just pull the plug for 72 hours? What a mess that is going to create. It's not something to take lightly. And that's just, that's not even a bomb or a bullet. These are the conventional escalations that the Russians may attempt or attack with. They lob a few missiles into Poland, where we're staging all the material to funnel into the Ukraine. What if they say, you know what, they're doing it right out in the open, there they are. I mean, but they're behind that magic line there, that magic line, that border, that, we're stuck here. I can't retreat. I got to do something. Well, let's just hit those NATO bases right there in eastern Poland. Now what are we going to do? That's an Article 5 violation, by God. So I guess we have to then go in there whole hog with all our conventional forces and have at it with the Russians. Where does it end? Where is the end game here? If we're in there slugging it out with the Russians with real troops, real planes, when does that end? Where does it end? What damage is inflicted? Are we going to start lobbing cyber attacks back and forth against each other, turning off our economies, starving the shit out of our own citizens over Zelensky? Come on now. I mean, I still say there's an argument to be made that if Zelensky had just taken the deal that was on the table 2 weeks ago, there'd be a lot more people alive than there are today, and terms of the deal would be similar to what he's going to ultimately accept, hopefully, when he finally does. I would be bending Mr. Zelensky's arm behind his back saying, you need to stop this. Take the L, and let's worry about tomorrow. But we got to turn this thing off. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I'm just telling you, there are some real nasty, real world consequences out there that I don't think anyone's talking about. The news media, with the exception of Tucker Carlson, is just shoving this right to you. Hey, we got to get involved here. This is an absolute genocidal war over there where the mass slaughter, and we got to get involved. Do we? You want to see some slaughter. Hey, let's get involved. So these are my thoughts on where we're at with the war. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this all works out exactly the way these war hawks are envisioning it, which I guess their end game is that Putin backs down in some fashion, goes back across the border, or somebody shoves Putin out of a window in his own capital, and the Russians just back down and all go home on their own. Hey, that'd be great. You were right. I was wrong. You did the right thing. Good job. Freedom reigns in the Ukraine, and we can all get back to our lives. So I'm hoping they're right. I don't think they are. I don't think that's going to happen. In the next 2 weeks, if I see that Putin's been shoved out of a window and the Russians give up and go home, good. You were right. Let's see if that happens. I don't think it's going to happen, but hopefully it does. That's all I got for you here. So thanks for being here. Get some alternative thought here because no one's talking about these kind of things in the conventional news channels, if you will. It's pretty much one side. All pretty much we need to get involved here and be involved here and we got to go, go, go. No fly zone, etc. So get a little alternative viewpoint here. I hope you guys are right. I hope I'm wrong. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk again. Eric Arnold signing off.